What the actual hell did I just see? The Acolyte season finale was the culmination of 7 episodes of complete horseshit. From Leslie Headland's monotone wife framing Saul for all the Jedi deaths.
A rogue Jedi named Sol killed his accomplices.
Side note, Master Yoda was completely unaware of what was happening despite feeling all the Jedi being killed during Order 66. To Osha embracing the dark side and still not being able to act, even if her life depended on it. To Darth Plagueis being reduced from Master Manipulator and Lord of the Sith to a bargain basement golem from Lord of the Rings. This episode just sucked from start to end. The episode starts with Osha displaying similar powers to her mother before Qumir interrupts and the two start making plans, despite the fact this is the guy who killed her friends and abducted her. May frees herself and shocks Sol before escaping, and as Sol chases her, Basil decides to carry out some minor sabotage. Why? Oh yeah, so another strong female character can survive a ship crash without a scratch. Cut to Coruscant, where Master Monotone is speaking to someone on an intercom that sounds almost like Palpatine. If this was intentional, it just shows how completely absurd this show is. There is literally no possible way to retcon Palpatine being alive at this time. Back on Brendok, where we're left to assume Saul does some more amazing Force rock climbing before Osha arrives and hot wires the elevator. Another side note, the massive explosion we saw in Episode 7 should make this impossible, but then this show never really depends on logic. Saul and Qumir have another lackluster lightsaber fight. Remember when we were told there would be lightsaber combat to equal the Duel of the Fates? Don't be too upset. Bear in mind this so-called show was marketed as a murder mystery, when the only real mystery is where the budget went, because it clearly didn't go into the show. We cut to Osha and May facing off. Sorry about the side notes, but we need to address the obvious. How can Osha, who's been working as a mechanic, don't even get me started on that one, for the last how many years, hold her own against May, who has been training for years in combat? Oh wait, that would require the elusive logic to explain, so moving on. Sol defeats Qumir, despite the latter killing all the other Jedi on Kofar and only being stopped from killing Sol by the hyper-aggressive Moths. Sol then turns his back on a dark side user, who previously told Sol he was a Sith, to have a heart-to-heart with May, which he clearly couldn't do on the journey to Witch Mountain. Sol admits he killed Mother Mindraper, and Osha overhears this, picks up a lightsaber, and then force chokes Sol to death. At last, the mysterious kill a Jedi without a weapon is revealed, and once again it's a ripoff from the previously established lore which was deemed okay not to break, unlike everything else. Osha ignites the lightsaber and oh my, the blade turns red. Now this is something I want to stick with, because for me this just demonstrates the complete disregard for the previous canon. In the Darth Vader comics set immediately after Revenge of the Sith, we see Vader killing a Jedi named Master Infala, taking the crystal from his lightsaber and corrupting it by pouring all his pain into the crystal until it bleeds. As the comic shows, this is an extremely difficult process, requiring intense concentration, but Osha does this with apparently no effort. Cut to the Jedi arriving, where Master Monotone reaches out with the Force, detects Qumir and drops the bombshell that she knows who he is. Like the scar on his back and the appearance of her light whip in Episode 6 didn't already make this abundantly clear. Qumir does his vanishing act, and May leads Osha out of Witch Mountain, and in the process shows how she survived the fall when Sol tried to hold up a metal bridge instead of picking up the much lighter children. They make their way to the tree where Sol first saw them, and surprise, surprise, Smilo Ren shows up and drops the bombshell that if he can find them, so can the Jedi. But then this show has been intent on showing how incompetent the Jedi are, so they need Basil the Tracker because they suck at using the Force. Osha's solution for everything is for her to take May's place as Qumir's apprentice, and Qumir says he can perhaps remove May's memories, implying it'll be difficult, yet he does this with a wave of his hand. May is then arrested by the Jedi. Master Monotone destroys Sol's legacy just to keep the Senate happy, and in the process suppress any knowledge of the Sith actually still being a threat, and then goes for a quick confab with Yoda before the episode ends. If there are any positives to take, I guess we do kind of get some actual acting from Amandla Stenberg, where she actually cries and even changes her facial expression in a different way to previous episodes where she seemed to just widen her eyes. The only other positive I can take is that the series is finally over, so hopefully we won't see these extremely forgettable characters ever again. But then this is Disney's so-called Star Wars, so I guess we'll have to put up with more of this shit. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.